Okay, we should be on a live stream now, and I am continuing on gleaning from USA Cavalry Manual 1935, and which is also Saumur 1912, section 27. With the title of the section 27 is the basis of an equestrian language, and the primary idea in it is expounding on the law of association of sensations, which is the foundation of teaching a language to a pupil, whether that pupil is a human, child, or a horse. And this doctrine or base idea, law of association of sensations, was coined by a doctor who I think was Belgian, but I'm not sure, Dr. Bon, and was cited by Saumur and by the chief of the U.S. mission to decide on the curriculum for Fort Riley, General Harry Chamberlain. The law of association of sensations from Dr. Le Bon basically says when impressions have been produced simultaneously or have immediately succeeded each other, it's thereafter sufficient that one of the impressions be presented to the senses in order for the others also to be called to mind. So, and information, I call it synonyms. It's just I'm teaching synonyms that these things have similar or identical meanings. And the examples in section 20, I think a great one is that the foal is led, it learns to lead. The foal follows the mare. The farmer then walks with the foal. Then the foal is haltered himself and led. And then later, when he's of schooling age, this is basically the same idea. The traction of leading is the same, starts the idea of the traction of the lunge leading forward. And then so that one idea leads successively to another. And the curriculum, the curriculum of the education of a horse is a much more laid out curriculum that has an order. Year 1, year 2, year 3, you can look in the back of old military commentaries and find these all laid out. Generally, the breaking in period is 3 weeks to 3 months. A lot of great masters said just allow for 120 days or budget for 120 days, but that is only preparing the horse for the start of the education. The education starts with the horse is being ridden and is introduced to the opening rein action in the saddle. That is the start of the education. So the breaking in period is not the education. I'm getting a little off track here, but they all, and we'll get back to that, but they all build on each other. For example, the opening rein, the very next idea, that's section 17 if you want to look it up, the very next idea in that same section is the bearing rein, so that these two preliminary rein actions operate together. Then the horse already has a huge idea that his forehand is united and displaceable before he's ever even cantered with a rider on him. This is an important idea. And that being able to displace his forehand also tends to cause movement. Then we reintroduce the click of the tongue and the leg at the girth for forward. So knowing the actual order of the curriculum is extremely important, but is extremely absent in the mind of trainers today. And that's why we have too many colt starters. It's like it would be like if 99% of the teachers in the United States were kindergarten and nursery school teachers, and we had no one to teach 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, high school, and college. Or 1% of teachers could teach that much. That's not enough. And that it's making a bulge of nursery school horses, and which is basic illiteracy, But same with riders, because they all think it's about being a good nursery school teacher and being friendly and like making the horse feel loved and solving problems. But that's not what teaching is. That's an education isn't problem solving. Okay, but I'm assuming that you guys are accepting that there are things to learn, like ideas to learn, and an order of these ideas. And here again, it's the law of association of sensations, which offers the means of assuring that the horse is following along this chain of ideas and going, oh, so that's the same. And then the horse starts to be able, horses are intellectually capable, and they will start to infer based on the language elements that they've been given. And that's a really exciting moment for a horse when he goes, is it the same thing when we're going this direction? And you're like, yeah. And then he goes, is it the same thing as when you said that when I was on the ground over there? And then he says, is it the same thing if we're in the forest as when we're in the arena? And you say, uh-huh. And he's like, oh, so we're really community. So there's this wonderful realization that when the horse starts to have the association of sensations, it's not problem solving. He will start to solve problems. That's what clever horses do. But they solve the problems in the language. The horse trainers of today are approaching all horses like they are screwed up and a problem to solve. They're either insecure and need healing, or there's problems to solve. But there's the problems to solve is that the horses haven't been given the language. So one idea that the horse learns and that a small child also learns is an idea that's repugnant to most people, and that is, for lack of a better word, obedience. So the teacher says, we're going to sing the alphabet song, and we say, okay, and we start to sing A, B, C, D. But if there's a kid in the class that goes, hell no, I'm not doing it, you have to cure that then, or else this is going to be a ruined child. Same thing with a horsey. So the means of assuring a horse's obedience needs to be instant, complete. And when a horse understands that there is a leader who will intervene and insist, usually it only takes one intervention. I'm trying to dance around the word punishment. There's correction, there is reward, there is correction, and there's punishment. What we punish is dangerous things or things that could escalate. Nappiness being one. Horse box, you've got to nip that in the bud. When they do something, when they realize something, it's immediately rewarded at once, immediately at that moment, in that moment. And same with an act of disobedience. When a horse is a youngster, he doesn't know it's wrong. Naughtiness is learned. Like when they're deliberately naughty, they already know it's wrong. But a young horse is innocent. He doesn't know it's wrong to do something. So it's incumbent on a responsible trainer that they know with certainty which things are wrong, which ideas are wrong. When a well-executed movement is rewarded at once immediately, and an act of disobedience immediately punished, pointed out and punished, the horse soon learns to submit to the rider's requirements, which he's going to wind up loving because they're wonderful when they're explained well. So I get there's pushback because of the whole ethos and being all loving. But what is loving? Is it loving to deny a creature an education? Is it loving to treat a horse like it's a problem to solve? An ignorant, feral little Mustang isn't a problem to solve. It doesn't know anything. You have to teach it. So I hope I'm making this point here, and that it's much kinder to start the chain of information with the law of association of sensations and give the horse a lexicon to communicate. And that horse, every horse at one point, there is all, and it's the same with a person, there always is a point that they're going to go, nope, not doing it. And if there isn't, there's something wrong with it. And when that moment comes, the rider trainer needs to be ready to go, oh no, my darling, you're going to be much happier if we are participating in this language together, and rejecting it prior to investigation is just stupid. So, give him a spanking. It's over with. He might have his feelings hurt for 10 seconds because the next thing he does something right, and you're right there being his best friend again. But this immediacy, and even being able to intervene on their incorrect or improper thoughts before they make a terrible gaffe or start to go into a rabbit hole of disobedient, which is unhappy behavior. We nip it in the bud. And it's got to look it's very important to know the curriculum and what is right and what is wrong if you're going to teach a horse, so that you can identify them immediately and move on from them. Gosh, this is the kind of topic that people get so upset. But the horses, I mean, I have a track record, and my teachers all have a track record of happy, cooperative, interactive, interesting horses. And the kid that goes, no, I'm not going to do it, that's not a happy kid. Same thing with a horse. So first, we teach the language of the aids, and then we communicate with this language that we've taught, conducting information between the two bodies. And finally, we acknowledge him immediately, constantly, frequently, for listening, for trying, and then for interpreting and executing correctly. This is why rewards must be spontaneous. And when a trainer is very excellent, the horse learns to love doing well. He starts to have his own desire for work and pride in achievement. And how we teach him to try, that's a lesson for another day. But using the classical curriculum is a good way to do it, because the horse is not only exercised in his body, he is also exercised intellectually. So when we're starting, we're establishing foundations. The horse must know when he's on the right track, literally and figuratively. We must inform him of, we must inform him when he's on the right track or when he's on the wrong track. And we also must inform him when he has heard us properly. And I also reward listening when they're green. And what does spontaneously mean? What does it mean? There's an immediacy associated with that, but it also means in an open, natural, uninhibited manner, that I am there with him in the conversation. I know if he heard me, I know if he misunderstood, and everything between him and me is sincere. Even if it's not, even if I'm saying, no, my darling, get your ass going. But see, my horses believe me. They know that I know, and they believe me, and they start to fall in love with school. So it's immediacy.